Welcome back to ClayClan for year 5. It's now been over a year IRL since I started this series. Didn't think I'd still be doing this, but here we are. If this is your first video, please check out the playlist since this is part 5 of a series. We didn't have any major drama this time round, thankfully, but we did have 3 deaths, so let's hop on over to StarClan. Flare was killed by Rogue Gang while out on a solo patrol. This was in Leafall, so he didn't die immediately, but he didn't end up doing much before either. As a general rule, I tend to proceed on all patrol events unless there's a story reason not to, or the cat's personality doesn't match. So, I didn't see Flare backing down, so that cost him his life. As for what he got up to, or didn't, Flare never acted on his crush on Fringe Mod, nor did those feelings grow, so it was likely just a passing fancy. He did also gain interest in Weasel Whisker, but that never went anywhere either. I had previously speculated that Flare might have had medical skills he was hiding, and I'm making that canon because Small J borderline hated him. I'm saying that she found out and tried to get him to switch paths, but he refused. He didn't like her much either. He's ended up with a lot of missed story potential that didn't get the time to pan out. Next is a new face and our first kitten death. Mallow Kit was ambitious, interested in clan history and curious about StarClan. He was born blind. His family joined the clan on a time skip and everything seemed to be going well until Mallow Kit caught kitten cough and didn't recover. I'm really sad over his death. I was really interested in him because his family really captured me and also because he was easier to draw than his brother. That's all for StarClan, because our last death is in the Dark Forest. Oddheader died mysteriously on a time skip. The game doesn't give causes of death for cats outside the clan, so this is where I'd have to theorycraft, but Oddheader did literally nothing of note, so the cause will have to remain a mystery. She ended up in here because I wasn't convinced of her remorse, and I don't see Burnet Pelt nor Pale Star allowing her in StarClan. Carnation Leap might have had room for forgiveness if Oddheader had seriously repented, but that didn't happen. This also opens up the opportunity for Oddheader to interact with the cats with the Dark Forest affinity, so she still has some story potential, which we'll have to wait because there is no such cat at the moment. Also, I'm not sure how much Dark Forest cats can see of the living world, so it's possible that Oddheader knows about Rostar's leadership and new mates. I think she'd feel depressed that Rostar is moving on. And let's move on to the living cats. Rostar and Weasel Whisker have been doing well. Shellbramble isn't here because he's in the nursery looking after their one kid. The kid is biologically Rostar and Shellbramble's, but Weasel Whisker is as much a parent as any other. Since she only had one kid, the pregnancy wasn't too tough on Rostar. Though she had wished for a big litter, so I'm open to them having more. Rostar has mixed feelings about Oddheader's death. She's heard rumors of it, and she isn't sure if she should be grieving. For now, she's decided not to dwell on it. Leadership-wise, things have been good, except for the fact that everyone seems to be ignoring her decree not to invite new cats. We had 5 new faces this year. She's trying to lead by example and chose not to invite a kitty pet her patrol had encountered. Still, Rostar couldn't ignore a cat in need. On another patrol, she had tried to help an abandoned kitty pet by the Thunderbat, but they were run over by a monster. She's well liked, but struggles to maintain authority. This has yet to be a true issue, but she needs to step up a bit if she wants her clan to listen to her. Weasel Whisker has had a calm year, which has given him time to settle into his deputy duties and parenting. While he was a parent before, he adopted Carnation Leap and Fringe Mod when they were older, so taking care of a newborn was new to him. Weasel Whisker thought he saw a familiar ghostly form, but they vanished before he could make sure. It might have been a late clanmate passing by. And that's about it for these two. I'm hoping they'll keep having calmer years. Small J has hate in her heart. As mentioned before, Small J found out about Flare hiding his medical skills and really disliked him for it. In addition, she has a worryingly high dislike of Ricewipe. Small J thinks she's been acting strangely and feels as though she's being stalked, which might not be that far from the truth, though Rice Type has no dislike for Small J. In other news, she is now a senior and is a loaf in-game. She recovered from birth, her weak leg has been acting up, and she caught white cough near the end of the year but recovered. Also near the end, she always seemed to have jay feathers sticking out of her fur, which I'm very happy about considering her name. While out gathering herbs with Cinder Beetle, the two noticed an odd scent that led them to a kidding queen. The loner accepted their invitation, and while it was against Rostar's decree, Small J feels the medical emergency superseded it. She has been doing okay. She's proud of her son, and sometime around the middle of the year, Small J moved on from Pale Star. She still loves him, but she's secure in the fact that they'll reunite in StarClan. There is another matter that might have affected this, that being Small J's tiny mutual crush on Chickpea. It's way too early to say if it will go anywhere, but it'd be cute for these two older cats to spend their twilight years together. Cinder Beetle was sick again this year, with yellow cough. He might not be pulling his weight. Sweet Fever noticed that Cinder Beetle was shirking his duties, and he yearns to explore beyond clan borders. His adventurous nature seems to be clashing with his responsibilities. He's not a bad medic, but after living independently for most of his life, clan life is a lot to adjust to. In other news, Cinder Beetle has gained a crush on his friend, Ricewipe. The age gap is a tad big, but they're both adults here. I would be in favor of this ship if Cinder People didn't borderline hate Ricewipe's sisters. He doesn't like Antler Shard because she's messy, and he has had several spats with Thornfeather, and they have barely anything in common. I am mostly worried because murder events are likelier the higher the dislike is, and both of these are almost in the hate range. He also has a little dislike for Small J, but he is friends with her. Chickpea also has hate in her heart, this time for real. She genuinely hates Swift River for numerous little things. She also has a little jealousy for him, which was triggered by her friends all having plans with him and him getting to mentor Blizzard Paw. Chickpea thinks Swift River got the job due to nepotism, which did play a part. She wished to be a mentor, which was granted later, but she has not been a good one. Her apprentice is Sparrowpaw, the late Mallowkid's brother, so she should be a bit more patient with them. She kicked sand into Sparrowpaw's fresh kill while he was eating, while he was still grieving. Girl, why? It doesn't matter if you're teaching him well if you also treat him like dirt. She also highly dislikes Thornfeather, likely due to her snooping last year. The clan was very uncomfortable with the way Chickpea was talking about her. Lastly, she has very mixed feelings on Frostlily and Fringmod. The latter can be explained because Chickpea has feelings for Quakeflick, who only seems to have eyes for the young elder. She did confess to Quakeflick, but was rejected. With the way she's been acting, I'd have rejected her too. While she was on patrol, a rogue gang attacked them, but they were beaten without injury. I'd been hoping that we'd get less rogue events after I made a big deal of beating them last year, but c'est la vie, I guess. She was also seen arguing, borderline fighting with a cat from ClayClan, and she's somehow supposed to be compassionate. This is Mizar, a 95-moon-old former loner. She's confident and a good swimmer with steady paws. She joined after a life of lonely and aimless wandering. I did not want her to join. She is my penance for safe scumming. The story is a former rogue joined on a time skip, which doesn't fit at all with what I've written, so I exited without saving. But when I time skipped again, Mizar joined. I decided to leave it at that since I'd prefer to keep cheating to a minimum for this clan. I hope you don't mind. She is closest with Thornfeather, who invited her into the clan, and Antler Shard, who welcomed her in and helped her set up her nest. And that's it. There's literally nothing else written about her in my notes, so she's definitely had a quiet first year. Quakeflick got rejected by Fringmod again. Fun fact, on the moon that I closed the game for, Quakeflick confessed to Fringmod for the second time in 1 year and got rejected once again. In the canon timeline, maybe she thought about it but realized it was a bad idea. She does have a little romantic like for Chickpea, but quickly seems pretty dead set on Fringe Mod. She was in the patrol with Chickpea that was attacked by rogues, so she's got some battle experience now as well. She had White Cough for a little bit and argued with a cat from Tremble clan. Her highest dislikes are for Riceswipe and Shellbramble. She's jealous of their friendships. She's been mostly normal, but please learn to take a hint. Swiftriver and Frostlily get to be drawn together because they are now dating. They'd been flirting for a while, going on patrols and unsuccessful fishing trips together. The game doesn't say who confessed first, but I think it's Frostlily because Swiftriver is now insecure. Let's talk about him first. Swiftriver's relationship with his little brother is a bit rocky, despite getting to mentor him. This might have played into his new insecurities, as Swiftriver feels that he was named mentor to the Small J's wishes rather than his own merits. Also, he's felt a bit jealous that Blizzard Paw has taken up most of Small J's time, but he also knows that he can't hold it against him. It also doesn't help that Blizzard Paw was kind of a jerk, but he's mostly grown out of that. Swiftriver thinks he did a bad job since Blizzard Paw graduated a little late. As for Frostlily, she's been good. She got to drive out a fox and has been doing well on her patrols. She did sprain a paw in Greenleaf, but she's used to that kind of thing. She hasn't been seeking out the rogues either, so it seems Frostlily has finally accepted ClayClan as her new family. She's beyond happy she chose to confess to Swiftriver. And while she's kind of interested in Riceswipe and Thornfeather, she wants to focus on her current mate for now. I think she'd be interested in a poly relationship, but with Swiftriver's newly accrued insecurities, it might be best to leave that conversation for later. Thornfeather is still being vaguely suspicious. Palestar wanted to send her an omen, and Burnedbelt was judging her. This was on the same moon she invited Mysar and went against her mother's orders. Baby, what are you doing? On what the omen might have been about, either Mysar is bad news, or it was about how Oddheather dies the next moon, but I don't really get why she would get an omen about that. On other matters, she got to drive away a fox and was on the patrol that got attacked by rogues, so she has been doing her warrior duties well. But she also flicked sand on Weasel Whisker's fresh kill while he was eating, so I don't know if she has a problem with authority or him dating her mom. Also, Shellbramble didn't think Thornfeather's intentions were all pure, so there's some red flags. Or she's just in her mean girl phase. Antlershard recovered from head damage in early Greenleaf and has been healthy since. She had her second rogue fight of her life and came out the other end with no wounds to speak of, so she must be a pretty good fighter. Her mother had also chosen her to lead a patrol, so Antlershard's been shaping up to be a good warrior. Though she also let a kitty pet join when she really wasn't supposed to, but this one was very obviously the brother of another cat that joined earlier. And speaking of kitty pets, Antlershard was seen sharing fresh kill with a kitty pet named DePaul. This guy has been around for a bit, but I can't find any notes on him. On a completely different note, based on Cinderbeetle's negative interactions with her, Antlershard seems like a slob. She ignored a mess that made him uncomfortable, and she smelled strange. Take that as you will. Riceswipe has been doing her own thing and I don't know what that is. She was on a patrol that drove out a fox and gossiped with Blizzard Kid. She has been acting strangely, keeping watch on Small J, and she went missing for a few days, but I think that's because she went to find a gift she gave Frostlily. Riceswipe didn't confess to her, but it's clear she hasn't given up. Though she has a new romantic option now, which is somehow worse, because Riceswipe is crushing on the now warrior age Blizzard Tuft. Honey, you knew him as a baby. I have always imagined Riceswipe as kind of a mess, and this is not helping her case. Let's now move on to the last of the new faces. Duskheart is childish with a keen eye. Snowy Tunnel is compassionate and a good teacher. These two joined on separate moons and have different birth months, but come on, they're only a moon apart and they look practically identical. I am retconning these two as twins who were both kitty pets. Snowy Tunnel's history tab states that something terrible happened to his two legs, and Duskheart says that she was washed away in a flood that destroyed her home. I don't need to do much to combine the two. So, Duskheart was found first by Small J and Cinderbeetle while she was kidding. It took a few moons for Snowy Tunnel to find his sister, but now the siblings are together again. They were devastated when Mallow-Kit died. That moon, Duskheart was caught outside the territory, wandering in her grief. She's managed to mostly grow past it, as her remaining son will need her. Luckily, she also has her brother to support her. This is Sparrowpaw, Duskheart's still living son. He's 7 moons old, gloomy, a mossball hunter, and interested in clan history. He has not been doing well. He's retreated into himself after Mallow-Kit's death, going from skittish to gloomy. It doesn't help that his mentor has been mean to him. I can't comment on if Chickpea is a good mentor despite this, since it's only been a little while, but I have my doubts. I feel bad for him, he's definitely depressed. Note, his original name was Warblerpaw, but I had really hard time saying it, so I changed it. I hope you don't mind. The cat order is a bit messed up, but I wanted to talk about Blizzardtuft and Fringemud together because I find their friendship fascinating. First, some stuff on them individually. Blizzardtuft was mentored by Swift-River, and he was an arrogant and ambitious apprentice, before turning insecure after graduating at 13 moons old. He had a bout of heat exhaustion as a kid, but he pulled through, and despite his prickly personality, he was an attentive apprentice. Blizzardtuft does have a little crush back on Stricewipe, but I'm really hoping this goes nowhere, at least until both have been adults for a while longer. Fringemud has been mostly enjoying his retirement. Mostly. He did get an infected wound on the paralyzed part of his body and went through some spasms he couldn't feel. He also caught green cough. And he is now fully blind, but he's taking it surprisingly well despite some setbacks. Fringemud has rejected all of Quakeflick's love confessions despite liking her back. Also, he insulted one of Swift-River's insecurities, so that ship's pretty much dead in the water. He has no other romantic interests, so it seems that he'll stay single for the time being. Now, onto the friendship. Blizzardtuft has been hanging out with Fringemud since kidhood. Fringemud had tried to comfort the kid over something, but he pushed him away. Some moons later, Fringemud was describing the territory to Blizzardkid. On the same moon, Weasel Whisker had to comfort Fringemud when Blizzardkid said something cruel. It must have been pretty bad to get Fringemud to accept comfort, so it might have been a comment on how Fringemud's never going to see the territory again. Which is pretty bad. Blizzardkid was quite the spoiled brat. Being the first leader's son must have gone to his head. He had a very unpleasant conversation with Swift-River that left both of them feeling grumpy. He insulted Weasel Whisker's looks behind his back, which he overheard. He hissed at Chickpea over something small, and he shared gossip with Ricewipe. Did I mention he was supposed to be charming during this? He was quite arrogant when he was first made an apprentice, but he mellowed out a bit into an ambitious personality. These two are on the rocks for a while, during which Fringemud snaps at Blizzardpaw to leave him alone. The friendship recovers a bit when the two discuss a crazy theory, and mostly recovered when Fringemud trusts Blizzardpaw with an important task. They also find out that they're both scared of thunder. So that's where they're at. Blizzardtuft's warrior ceremony was very late in the year, so his switch to insecure hasn't had time to affect things yet. The personality switch likely stems from Swift-River since he's insecure too, but I like to think that Blizzardtuft realized how much of a turd he's been. Blizzardtuft was honored for his insight, but he wasn't sure it described him. He seems to be in a place where he doesn't know how to proceed. He doesn't seem like the type to apologize easily, but I also don't see Fringemud as someone who needs one to get the message. That being said, this has the chance to go toxic if it already hasn't been, but at the same time it could be a chance at some character growth. I really hope it's the latter. Last are Shellbramble and Liarkit. Shellbramble has been good. He hasn't had any especially bad interactions. He's kind of faded into the background, and as he doesn't have an official position, he has been the one to take over nursery duties at the most. He loves his whole family, especially this new addition. Liarkit is 4 months old, noisy, and quick to help. She's the clan princess right now, being the daughter of the leader with plenty of older siblings to dote on her. Right now she has a headache, and so does everyone else considering how loud she's been about it. She's still a kid and doesn't have relationships outside of her family, so who knows how she'll turn out. At least some cats are doing well. We still have the one exiled rogue outside the clan, so let's go over him quickly. Bailey exists. Yeah, there really aren't many interactions for cats outside the clan. One thing I want to make canon is that Bailey knows about and kind of believes in StarClan. This is because Bailey was still a ClayClan cat when Splashflower and Palestar died, which is an event I'm making him witness. This means that he saw Palestar essentially come back from the dead and thus isn't an atheist anymore. I am doing this so that I can put him in the dark forest after he dies, and I want more potential drama on that front. But that's all I have to say about Bailey. This was more of a filler year, which I'm fine with. The last one was a lot of work. But I'm fairly worried over the future since several cats have high dislike and even hate for each other, and that makes murder events more likely to happen. I had been hoping to keep the new cats to a minimum, to which the game responds by giving me 5. Thanks. If you enjoyed the video, remember to like and subscribe. I make posts about the status of new videos, so keep an eye out for those. Well then, bye! Moi Kensi! Voitko nää tulla pois mun pöydältä? Mä yritän nauhoa. Älä!